Welcome to the mix, it's Gen-XYZ, we're ecstasy, we blend, dissect society. No topics out of bounds, 3 generations deep, we're breaking new ground.
Welcome to the Gen-XYZ. This is Jordan again.
I am Greg.
Asia over here. DJ is sitting today out, but we have a guest.
My name's Mitch.
Mitch is our special guest today. He is 25 years old and my boyfriend. And he is in a band. He's going to be talking to us about just starting that life from the tech world. And their band is called Richy Mitch and the Coal Miners. They are on Spotify, Apple Music, everything that you can think of. In the last 2 years, they've really blown up, first on TikTok. And yeah, I've started world touring, and his life has just completely changed since. So he's here today to talk to us about all of that.
Welcome, Mitch.
Howdy, partner.
Hi, guys.
I'm excited to hear about touring on the road. This will be cool.
Love it. I'm so happy to be here.
Alrighty, so Mitch, we'll just get kicked off. Mitch, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Colorado Springs, Colorado, just south of Denver. So
All your life?
I lived there, until I was 18, and then I moved to Golden for college, which is outside of Denver as well. It's just west. So
Nice. What school's in Golden?
it's called Colorado School of Mines. It's like a little engineering school, and I studied math there. It was fun. It was a good 4 years. So
Okay, so math.
Did you have to be smart and super gifted in order to get into that school? Or could anyone go to that school?
Not us.
It was a middle ground. I mean, it's a public school, and like it's all STEM, and so definitely you have to know what you're going to get into. We're neighbors with Boulder and that kind of thing. So yeah, I loved it. I knew I wanted to go into math or into engineering of some sort, so that was why I went there.
Well, how's that working out for you right now?
Yeah, I don't use it a lot anymore, but I do it. I think the following a process helps a lot, and being good at lots of engineering stuff applies a lot to what I'm doing on a day-to-day. So
That's good.
Nice. So if you want to just give us like a brief rundown, basically, of what you were doing before being a musician full-time, and then kind of like a timeline into that transition, and then we'll go into like details and all of that.
yeah, sure. So timeline-wise, we met Jordan in October of 2021, and I was working in tech full on at that point. I was a data scientist, was what I was going into, and I was starting grad school for data science, and then I also worked at a startup that was similar. It kind of crossed over with education, and so I did that for 2 years, and I loved it. I think education was really my end game. I was hoping to go back to school and then pursue academia, just because I loved being in the classroom and learning. And anyways, music kind of took over. I found that like the desk job and working at a startup was hard. You're wearing a lot of different hats, and that you're kind of pursuing someone else's dream. And I felt that being able to have autonomy and being able to have access to all my hobbies was great. And so my music started taking off in 2022 toward the end of the year. And that was when
During COVID.
yeah, like the last part of COVID.
2022.
Yeah. And so that was kind of my point where I made the decision to switch into music once it just was feasible, when I was able to put food on the table and start to pursue things and build a business. So
When did you start with music? Like, is that something you liked as a kid, or is that something I don't know?
I started, as a kid for sure. We always had a piano, and so I learned by ear on our piano in our living room, and I took a few lessons growing up, but mostly just all by ear. I hated lessons, and I taught myself guitar, and then taught myself all my other instruments with my best friend. His name's Nick, and we loved Guitar Hero and Rock Band and all those games, and so that was what fueled the passion of making music and just pursuing projects. We were always project kids. We got into hacking, and we got into making movies and music. So music was always there for sure.
What did you hate about lessons?
I didn't get the point of them. Like, I feel like lessons are you're trying to learn, like kind of hit benchmarks, I guess, in terms of skills and stuff like that. And I found that learning by ear tended to be a lot quicker. While I lack like a lot of classical technique and that kind of thing, I felt like it was a lot more fun for me to like put on a Beatles album and learn all the songs on that album, just listening to them versus like have a book open and look at all the sheet music and try to decipher that. It didn't really click with my brain as much. So
little fun fact about Mitch, he actually can't read music.
yeah, I can't.
But it reminds me a little bit of learning a language, because I was always bad at learning languages. I had French in school, obviously English, which I think I speak pretty okay. But even Russian, it's more a learning by doing, where you then remember certain phrases and sayings. And so, I don't know, I figured out the reverse engineering of a language is sometimes easier than learning grammar and basically giving up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Was like music always like a priority growing up, like within the house, like your whole family, or just you? Was that like an individual interest?
We don't have any other musicians in our family. Like my sisters, we all took like piano lessons to start. My dad loves music, like, and my mom also loves music, but my dad was very heavy on always having music around and that kind of thing. And I think they wanted us to have a lot of outlets. I tried a lot of sports. I tried music. I got into the outdoors and stuff, and music always stuck, but it was never really pushed on me, which I think is why I ended up liking it the most.
What sports do you play?
I played the sports that like I really played are basketball and soccer, and I love running as well. So those are kind of the
Nice.
main ones.
Love it.
Yeah.
What just like going back to kind of your job before music started off, like what were you doing with like data science and stuff like that? And then like why did you want to stick with education? Like you said, it was your end game.
Yeah, that's a wild question. I'm trying to think.
Like what'd you love about it basically?
I love math, and I love like machine learning. I love statistics, and like I love how just working on models and working on larger projects was really fun, especially on a team. And so I like that part of it, but it grew old pretty fast. I found that I loved just pure math eventually, and that was why going back to school was kind of the overall end game for me, just because I felt way more comfortable like hitting benchmarks in a classroom and being able to know what I know. Versus...
Did you ever see Good Will Hunting?
Yeah.
Did you solve the thing on the board? Did you solve the mathematical equation?
I was never that good at math. I loved it though.
But did you look at it on the movie and try to go, okay, I could solve that?
Mitch is a wizard.
No, I remember I was in a class on graph stuff for computer science, and I was like, oh, I could nerd out on this kind of thing, but I never really got too into it. So
You are 25 years old.
yeah.
When did you start, I don't know, forming the band, I guess? And who's in the band?
Yeah, after that whole piano endeavor. How did that turn into
can
a
you play
band?
every instrument? Can you play any instrument that you're, like if I handed you a French horn right now, because I've got one. If I hand you one, could you figure it out and play it in a day, figure out how it works?
Yes, you could.
No, because like brass and like woodwinds, there's a lot of technique to how to actually make sound on them. So like no way. But
you could figure it out maybe.
Yeah, I could understand the music side of it, like the actual mechanics of it, but it's a lot of like learning how to do a certain technique to make the sound.
Well, it's like breath work too.
Yeah, it's the same with like bowed instruments. It would take me quite a bit of time to figure those out.
Like a violin.
Yeah.
What's so different about the piano though? Is it because it's just a key?
Yeah, it's so visual. I always like tell people that's how to start, is because you see everything in front of you all the time. And so piano, you get every single scale and every single combination right there. Whereas guitar is a little bit more cryptic. And then you go to instruments that don't even have frets or just have random mechanics, and it's way more, you're kind of solving a mystery at that point. So
I feel like I know what you mean. The other day, this is slightly unrelated, but I just saw a husky playing the piano by getting up with his front paws, and then he stood on the piano with all four paws and then went down on the chair. And so the melodies he was playing, and then he was howling. I was like, how does that sound so good? I almost thought that it was maybe a fake and someone was playing over the visual, but I think it was real. So I get it's easier to figure out, right? You have the high notes and the low notes, and they're kind of in harmony. And so you can, I don't know, with a guitar, you never really know where to grip and where to. Yeah. I'm not really musically, maybe by ear, but not by playing. One hand might also not benefit that.
Well, just like living with Mitch and knowing Mitch the last couple of years, like it's really cute because his like family piano, I saw him play that. They got rid of it, but I watched him play that, you know, and that was like his piano all growing up. But he likes to open it so he can see like all the strings move and whatever. And yeah, it just shows like your brain a lot of like looking at the mechanics and yeah.
What is it called with the part inside the piano that hits each of the strings that are inside? What are those called? Those little knobs?
Those are the hammers.
Yeah, I was about to say
so that's
that
a
thing
hammer.
that looks like a hammer.
Yeah, those are hammers. So do you hammer time? Do you do a lot of hammering?
Oh, for sure. Big time. Big time. I love it.
What's your favorite song that isn't one that you've written that you love to play?
Oh,
That's a great question. I love playing this song by Alex G. It's like it's called, what is it called? Oh, it's called Bobby, and it's just a really fun kind of country song, and I love ripping it. I can play it on every instrument. It's like kind of my first thing I try to learn on an instrument when I'm walking up to it.
I love that song. It goes, Bobby.
you don't know Alex G.
Think about the time you spoke to me.
He doesn't know Alex G.
Back to the band.
Back to the question. Yes.
Was your friend's name Nick?
Yeah, Nick is my childhood friend. I've known him since I was like 3. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
Best friends.
yeah.
and then
then
who's the
what?
other person?
Jacob joined our band a little bit later. So me and Nick started when we were 14, and we had a band. We had no idea what the name was, but
I was about to ask, what was the name?
yeah,
What
were
instrument
the-
does Jacob play?
he plays drums.
Oh, okay, drummer.
Wait, what were the names you were tossing around?
We had quite a few. Our thing was like skipping football games and staying home and practicing Guitar Hero and Rock Band and getting really good at those. And so our first name was very garage band. It was Beethoven's Hot Sister. And that was, we pushed that pretty hard. We had a Twitter account and everything. And then,
That's kind of cool.
yeah, it was all right, but it wasn't, I ended up writing a lot of folky music and a lot of kind of country music. And we found this name later, kind of happy accident. We made this movie in a German class in high school.
Wie bitte?
Yeah.
Deutsch?
He spricht
Deutschunterricht?
Deutsch. He spricht Deutsch sehr gut.
Yeah.
Really?
Mitch
Yeah.
speaks a ton of
Oh.
German.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone who listens, we might need to prank you later.
Oh, there we
Okay.
Yeah,
so
why don't
you-
you guys say something real quick in German to each
I
other?
just did.
That'd be great. Well, I did too. Du sprichst Deutsch sehr gut.
Yeah.
Ja, es ist eine Weile, seit ich Deutsch gesprochen habe, aber
Und
Ja.
ich kann das verstehen.
Oh.
Das ist gut.
das freut mich.
Yeah.
So now the podcast, we've switched over to a German
Yeah,
podcast.
we're gonna
now.
translate.
I hope you all enjoy this.
You may or may not get subtitles.
Okay,
you
so
go.
how did you get Richy Mitch and the Coal Miners?
Yeah, so we made this movie in our German class and for our English class and mythology class. So it was a triple, I don't know what.
Triple kill.
It was triple kill. So basically we tried to submit this for a final project for 3 different classes and get away with it.
Nice.
And so the
Okay.
movie was completely in German, but we hand wrote all the subtitles and we Google translated the whole thing. And so it was about this wizard that mines coal. And Richy Mitch was the owner of the mine and the lore of like the whole movie thing we made. And
Are you the Mitch of Richy Mitch?
yeah, that was where it came from. It was kind of just, we knew that coal mining was like kind of our bit, like the wizard was mining coal. And we realized we loved projects, like we loved making that movie. And we were like, we need another project. And so we got a recording software and we recorded our first album in the closet and we released it as Richy Mitch and the Coal Miners. At the very beginning, Nick was singing and our band name was still Richy Mitch and the
Nick
Coal
was
Miners. And
singing?
Nick has a great voice.
No,
yeah.
he does, but wow, I didn't know that.
We had a sing off to decide who could sing for the
Okay,
band.
tell that story,
Who is
please.
the judge
Actually,
to that? Yes.
tell that story.
Well, it was kind of funny because we both like basically were in our friend's basement and we were just playing music and singing and stuff. And Nick sang and I sang, and then we kind of realized we both were like we could go either way. And then I had a lot of songs written that I practiced singing and stuff like that. And that was kind of when it happened, when we decided I would sing stuff because I was very used to playing guitar and singing. And doing some songwriting. So
Did you do open mic stuff ever?
for sure. Yeah.
Like all through high school or what?
No, I didn't sing at all till like my senior year of high school. I was very shy about it, about music. I never told people about piano. I was very into sports and stuff. And so, and then senior year, I got a little bit more confidence and I got really into that. And then I started playing around the Springs. So,
and then I heard kind of through the grapevine, through stories, that one of your biggest dreams was to one day play at the Red Rocks in Colorado, and you were able to do that.
Yes.
Recently.
Yeah, I did with Mount Joy last year.
So what was that like? Explain how that felt walking out, and how many fans was it packed in there all the way up the cliff? And
like, why is Red Rock such a significance?
Yeah, no, it was freaky. It was amazing. So Mount Joy, they're a band of ours that's our friends, and they were playing Red Rocks, and so they invited me to sing a song we made with them last year at it. But
Lake Missoula,
yeah. And growing up, we just worshiped the place. I went to my first concert there, and it's just really the coolest music venue in the world. I've been to quite a few, and there's nothing like it. And so getting to play there was insane. I barely remember it. I was really just in like a state of stupor.
Is it cool because you can hear off the rocks back to you?
Have you been there?
No, I've never been there.
So if you're sitting in the middle of the amphitheater, it's like almost perfect natural acoustics. And so like you get just amazing sound for live music. And it's just, to play there as a musician, it's cool because you can see the rocks. Basically, the stage has a awning and the rocks go above it, and you can't even see the top of the rocks. And so it just looks humongous. And then just a massive crowd. I think it's 10,000 people. So it was really cool. But I brought my parents and Jordan, and we had a lot of good times.
How exciting.
Awesome.
Where did you get to sit, Jordan?
We were actually like right in the middle. There's like I don't know, not VIP, but like almost like a little friends and family section that we were in. So we were like right in the middle, and it was really special because it was like Mount Joy's concert, and Mitch and I flew out, I don't know, that night or maybe that morning or something like that. Like it was a 24-hour trip. Like it was really, really quick. And so no one knew in the audience that Mitch was there. No one knew what was going on. They just released this like Lake Missoula featuring Mount Joy. And so when Mitch comes out and I'm in the crowd, like everyone just like freaks out. And people are like, oh my God, like that's Richy Mitch and the Coal Miners, blah, blah, blah. Like they're going to sing Lake Missoula. And then obviously I'm crying. And then it's just like so amazing when you hear like everyone around you like singing your song. And like I have the honor of like knowing you. And like, yeah, it was just a very like incredible experience for me to be like kind of on the outside of. But yeah, and to know that it's like one of his dreams. And then, you know, the next goal is getting the whole band there. But,
for sure.
Yeah. Can you remember walking out with your guitar, and what was the feeling that you're literally now truly performing in front of a live audience? What did that feel like in that moment, if you can remember that?
I just remember feeling it was a weird sense of calm, I guess, because I've been there so many times, and like I think I'd been in my head like doing that a lot, and I've played that song a million times, and so it just was flipping the fun switch on and being able to just look up and not stare at my guitar the whole time. I think if you caught me there, you know, on another day, I could have just been looking at my guitar and staring down at my feet and trying to power through a song, but it was really fun, and I'm glad I know the band that we were playing with, so it was very comfortable to.
So you get nervous, you get a little shy when people are watching you, perhaps.
I used to, yeah. I feel a lot better now. We've played a lot of different types of shows, and I've learned that you're not like saving lives or doing surgery, and so people are there to have fun, and if you're having fun, they're going to have fun, and so for the most part, I feel a lot better.
It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, it's really low key, and it's not an essential thing we're doing. Like music's great, and I think everybody connects with music at some level, but yeah, there's no pressure, really.
I feel like it's like entertainment too. So if you do have a little hiccup or a mess up, you can still, you know, talk to the crowd and be like, well, that's happened.
You can laugh it
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
It's not like a Cirque du Soleil show,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where everyone is literally staring at you and they're like, okay, that was not a backflip.
Yeah.
So, no, that's cool. I can only imagine. I was on what's that called? In theater a couple times playing something, whatever, back in the day when I was probably 14. And I just know the heart race you get, and then you can't see the crowd because the lights are so bright, so it's all dark. But yeah, you really just your heart beats, and you're like, okay, don't mess up, don't mess up.
Yeah.
Man.
I want to talk about like Evergreen. Evergreen is like Mitch's, I don't know, their band's #1 song. How many streams does it have on Spotify?
Quite a few.
What do you think?
500 million, probably.
Okay, so you
Holy
know.
smokes.
Somewhere around there. It's getting close.
Yeah, so it has like 500 whatever streams on.
500 million.
Sorry, 500
not 500
million.
something.
Okay, whatever.
Well, that's a big difference.
That's true.
But yeah, so that song, you know, I was kind of around that whole time, but that song kind of like launched you guys. And
When was that? 2022?
2022 probably was
Okay.
when it
yeah, it was
started
probably
going.
like January, February, probably.
That was when I think we started seeing some growth, and then a year later it was on its way. Definitely went viral at that point. So
Yeah. So what? Because I mean, it was a crazy time. Like, what was happening with you personally, and like how were those feelings? And then, yeah, I know it's a lot of questions, but like also just with you, Nick and Jacob,
yeah,
kind of like what did it make you closer? Like, what was that dynamic there?
that year as it was happening, there was a lot of "is this happening" type conversations. And Nick and Jacob are my best friends. I've known them forever, and me and Jacob have always traveled every year together. And Nick and I were living together at that point, and so lots of speculation, lots of getting online and playing video games, and just being like, "Wow, our music's doing pretty good." Like,
Did you
is
make
great.
money with your music at the time?
yes, but and it was cool because it would be like, okay, now it's not going completely back into music. Maybe I can buy a guitar with this and that kind of thing. And so for so long, it was such a passion project, and we'd always seen it as a passion project. So to see it commercially do pretty well was a shock to all of us, and it was fun. So
I have a question. The first time you got paid for playing your music, like how much money did they give you? How much money did you make on your first gig? I'm just curious.
I think I've gone from paying to play shows before to a funny story with that is there is this one company that we were a really niche band at the time, but they reached out to us about coming to their show in Arizona. They'd fly us out. We'd stay at like a really nice hotel, and they're like, "We just need to know your fee and everything else we'll cover." And so
10 million.
How to make up a number, huh?
exactly. So people, and I had no idea. I was managing our band at that point. And so
Wait, how old were you?
I was 19.
Oh, okay.
And so I, like if I was
Just get us top ramen.
exactly,
We'll be fine.
I like right now, if you would ask any band in the world that, you shouldn't do it for less than a couple grand or something like that. You have a bunch of people with you, you're trying to put on a show. I go $400.
They're like, sure.
They're like, absolutely.
Can you stay for a week?
Yeah, right.
literally.
So it was a 3-hour show, and we flew to
Oh my
Arizona
gosh.
and back,
Smokes.
and we spent it all on beer like the first day or two. And
Yeah.
it was, we were all 19, and
Did you trash your hotel room? Throw TVs out the window?
I wish
Show your rock stars
Mattress
now
on the roof.
Our thought then was like,
that you arrived.
we got to do this next year, so we're gonna be so polite and so cool. And
Oh,
yeah, it was fun. It was right before COVID, so that
That's
was kind of
cute.
That's awesome.
what happened. But
What when like I don't know, like what are your thoughts about like music going viral on TikTok? Noah Kahan's kind of like that too, I feel like.
yeah, I think it's cool. I think any music discovery platform that exists is really powerful, and I've seen a lot of artists, like our song Evergreen that went viral is 6 years old, and so to have artists that can have their music either be found by a new audience or just get a new pulse of life into it is really cool. So I know lots of bands that existed in the 90s and the 2000s that they're having that same experience now, and they've had a lot of time to think about what could be or what might happen, and they're now there. And so
Yeah.
TikTok's really cool for that, and I think it falls into a lot of niches as well, which is cool because genres like shoegaze or folk that might have been seen as more of a fringe genre to a greater genre are like now very common among, younger generations, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know how old, like, what's the age demographic roughly of people that listen to you guys?
we're anywhere 18 to 30 pretty much. So,
Okay.
And then what advice would you give? Let's say there's someone right now in their garage. They have a couple of their buddies. They're in junior high, maybe starting high school. They're playing their band. They're very talented musicians already. They love it. You can tell they have a passion. What's your advice for them to get moving now while they're young and get their music out? And how do they go about doing that?
yeah, my most important advice would be to learn as much as you can all the time, especially about recording and about techniques within music. So there's a lot of music out there, and how it gets found is, it can be organic or algorithmic, and who knows how it's all going to get panned out. But if you're really trying to make music work for you, you have to record a lot and you have to push your music. And
how do they push it? Where are they pushing it?
everywhere, every angle.
Spotify, your TikTok little shorts.
So those are just distribution, is, sending your music to people and having them post it. And then, you can make content if that's your jam. Additionally, you can email. I did a lot of cold emails to music editors and curators and just saying, hey, please love my music. I hope you love my music. And
so you got to pound the pavement like anything else.
Yeah, the thing with making it in music, or so on, so is you're making your music commercial and you're making it a business. And some people might not want that. Like, I know 19-year-old me would not have wanted that. Like, that might have been like not how I saw music, but I love it now, and I love owning a business, and I love that. Like, if I understand now the implications of like trying to commodify an art, and I love it. And
you own all your music?
Yes.
You own the rights to it?
Yeah.
Or, okay, so no one else can own so when you have someone download, because I don't understand, so you need to explain how this all works. You say there's 500 million downloads of the number one song, Evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean exactly for us? My generation, we pretty much don't know what that even means.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, it was just record sales.
Yeah,
right?
I went and bought a record, an album, an LP, either on a 45 or a regular LP, or we had cassette tapes,
It's
or
kind
we
of
had
that
8-track.
same thing of like record sales, though. Like,
Yeah.
in a sense,
There's a sliding scale, or like a little formula to do the conversion. But streaming is like, if you play a song, you go on demand play a song for 30 seconds or so, or more. And it all just counts as one string past then. But so that's about how many times our song's been played, is just for 30 seconds.
And
or
I
someone
heard
to
some
hit the
movie
button.
stars have had your song as part of their...
oh yeah, Jennifer Aniston,
What did Jennifer Aniston do
the
with
first
that?
lady used it.
Jill Biden?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mitch.
they just make little videos with them. It's cool.
yeah, like little edits.
And it's your music that they're using.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. That's very awesome.
Thank you.
Good job.
I
Congratulations.
was talking to him the other day. I was like, do you ever think about like what celebrities might have heard your music? Like, I was like, do you think Will Ferrell like has heard you guys? Like,
Will Ferrell dances
Like,
to your music
you
in his
know?
living room.
like,
I've
who do you
watched
think
Oh, yeah, there we
messes
go.
with his music? It's just sick.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome to watch you, and you're very deserving of all of it. But I do want to talk about, like, you guys started touring when? 2022, right?
Last year, 23.
Was it last year?
Last May was our first time touring. We'd played some shows. I've always played around cities I've lived in and stuff. So
I saw you in May of 2023 at the Showbox in Seattle
Yeah.
for the first time I ever saw you in concert.
that was our third show ever.
Third show ever.
Yeah.
Get into like you guys being asked to tour. I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it was, we were trying to figure out our angle on music and how we wanted to do this, because I've mentioned the whole turn your music, your art into a business kind of thing. And for us, we wanted to try everything. And so your options with music is you can be a touring artist, you can be a recording artist, a solely recording artist, you can be a hobby artist, it's really accessible and you can kind of choose your own adventure. And our goal last year was to say yes to everything. And so we were lucky to bring on some really good representation. We have managers and agents, and they brought us some tours and some ideas, and we wanted to say yes. And so that was, I think in January last year, we got our first tour offer with Rustin Kelly, and that tour we ended up playing the Showbox at. And
I remember that was Rustin that you opened for.
How many shows was it?
It was probably 9. I think it was 9 shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it, talk about it. Like, what,
It was
how was it
fun.
like? Like,
Yeah.
what was the vibe?
Touring is really fun, especially when you're fresh. Like, we were very new to it, and so we all were sharing beds and touching leg hair in the car all day, and it was
Spooning.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Dylan was my bunk buddy.
How do you
Dylan's
decide
our
who
bass
sleeps
player.
in your bed?
It was kind of random. I think that tour we all slept with each other at some point, and it was
Not
it
the
was
way you
brutal.
think.
No,
So
literally.
just starting out is just like we all hear about, where you gotta suck it up and you have to deal with a lot of stuff in order to finally be recognized at some point.
Yeah,
A lot of hard times first.
yeah,
Eating gas station food.
definitely. I mean, we're really lucky. I can't say that we've dogged it as hard as a lot of bands. Like we have a van. Like we've been able to stay at hotels, and some bands are emailing and texting family members and texting friends and sleeping in Walmart parking lots and stuff. So ours was great, and it was hard. I wasn't going from tech, which I barely interacted with people, to like being in a van all the time with my friends was very different. But that first tour was fun because we were so green and we just didn't know what to do with ourselves and with our time. And so, yeah, we were just drinking beer, having fun at the hotels, and just, yeah, that was it. And just super nervous excitement. And then over time, the task has been to like make it a little more sustainable for ourselves and our life and all of that. But it was really fun tour. So
Well, how was that for your guys' relationship though? Because you've been dating for how long
Yeah, like
prior
years.
to that?
yeah, a little over 2 years.
So at least you were kind of solid at that point. It's
Yeah.
not like you're dating for 6 months
No.
and then
Yeah, let's
so
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
About
No, we
the
could-
struggles of this.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we should be candid about this.
Journey wrote faithfully based on that.
No, a lot of artists write a lot about this stuff. Yeah, so Mitch and I started dating when he was in tech. So, he's working 9 to 5 and he was remote. So,
Did you live together at that time?
No. We were
Okay.
both in Bozeman, I don't know, like 5-minute drive away from each other. But, making time to hang out, all that, whatever. And then last year, I remember in January, February, we had like a actual sit down conversation. And you were like, yeah, like, I think we should do this. And I was like, hell yeah. I was like, quit your job, like, do this, And I love Mitch so much. And I knew that, like, I didn't see that stopping anytime soon, basically. And I kind of was like, whatever happens, like, we'll figure it out. Like, just go full fledged in this right now, because no one gets this opportunity ever.
Twice,
Like,
especially.
yeah, like, it's insane. Like, no one gets this opportunity to go do music with their best friends. And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of everyone's fantasy, basically,
Yeah.
Like, come on, in the 80s, weren't you like, yo, I want to be a rock star a
I
little bit?
was.
Yeah.
I was a rock star
Like, it's everyone
in my bedroom.
yeah,
I love
in
it.
some way, shape, or form, it's everyone's like little fantasy. So I think I had the attitude of like, whatever happens, like, I love you, we'll figure it out. Even, we had conversations of like, I was like, do we need to go on a break? Like, do you need to put your full focus into this? Like, where does it land? And it was just, we also didn't know anyone else that has done this or
Yeah.
could give us any advice. And so we were just doing it together.
You guys should have called Journey.
Yeah. No, we were just doing it together. And I think that's the part that I like the most, is that we figured it out together without listening to anyone else, really. Like,
And also
because
without yelling at each other, being like, how dare you
Yeah.
do this to me? Or
No.
whoever knows what's going to happen. How can I trust
No,
you?
Jordan
It's
was
like,
very supportive.
no, it
yeah,
was
for
it
sure.
was like,
and reasonable. Like
Yeah.
realistic is probably
well,
the big word here.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, is I wanted to be realistic,
Yeah.
because I know that I know how hard he works, and I know that this opportunity does not come often or
That's
at
an
all.
Eminem lyric.
And yeah, I just wanted to be like the best partner I could be for him, and
was she?
Oh, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
still am.
Always.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know, your point of view.
I mean, same. I went in not knowing what anything was going to look like, what tour would be like, what recording, what work would look like on a daily basis. And it was busy last year. Like I said, we said yes to everything. And me and Jordan also basically said yes to everything. And we've learned that you need to rein it in and like need to learn what works for you. And so
Boundaries.
yeah, just lots of huge conversations between me and her about like, hey, is this working? Is this working? And like, we're still doing that. And like, it's still so fresh. And so I would say that the music industry is like kind of intentionally confusing in a lot of ways. So like, there's a huge barrier to entry and a barrier to understanding in a lot of the domains of music. And so I'm still getting my legs in a lot of places and making mistakes. And I think I just appreciate, we've sat down a lot and had very many, just almost, very partnership-y conversations about like, what can we do here? What's this going to look like? And it's gone a long way for me just to be very realistic and very like, it's helped me stay very grounded too and focused on the right things. And
Has there been jealousy or anything? Do you guys ever worry about Mitch being surrounded by a bunch of screaming ladies? And
I mean, yeah, like that obviously like was such a transition, because the thing that you like kind of go from is, okay, me and Mitch have our own relationship, right? Like it's just me and him. This is our little world. And then now like he's in the public eye and there's fans and all this stuff that, like his fans start to follow me on Instagram or they recognize me at shows and blah, blah. And it's cool. But it definitely like our little world kind of expands. And yeah, at first, like, hell yeah. Like there were so many times I'm like scrolling on Instagram where they're at tour and I'm like, who's this girl? Like, and I never have to worry about Mitch ever, but it's my own like.
you're a trustworthy guy, Mitch.
Oh God, yeah.
1,000,000%, yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're a real man then.
Yeah,
There you
no,
go.
Okay, I love
I never ever have to worry about Mitch, but yeah, it's super difficult. I mean, like
A real man is loyal.
you know it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's my dad, everyone. God. But yeah, so
But I love Mitch, so
I
it's all
know.
good.
Yeah, but that was hard for sure. I think also like I'm kind of getting out of it, but like definitely the last year, the hardest part was like, oh, Mitch is traveling and Mitch is doing all these fun things. And there's like these little bits of like jealousy there
I
where
was
I'm
about
like,
to ask, what was the hardest thing in that year?
yeah, we're like, oh,
Being
I'm at home with our
FOMO?
dog. Like,
Yeah.
know, yeah, it was FOMO.
Watching a sad show on HBO.
Yeah, like it was FOMO for sure, but then also knowing like I got to go on some of the tours and kind of seeing the ins and out. I'm like, okay, this is not as glamorous as like people think. Like I'm actually not missing out on a lot. Like
Because it's work, right? It's just
it's
a job.
work, and it's
Yeah.
and it's
It's not a party at
you
all.
do the same stuff every single day, and there's amazing times, and you guys have a lot of fun things that you do, but
Yeah.
I think experiencing it firsthand, I was like, okay, I'm okay. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it. And I was the same way. I'd get FOMO of
Not being
Can you please
home with
explain
the dogs.
FOMO again?
fear
Fear
of
of-
missing out.
Fear of missing
Okay,
out.
Generation
Yes,
X.
yes.
Did you all
Thank
get
you.
that?
For all the Generation Xers out there,
Fear of
that
missing
means
out.
fear of missing out.
Yes.
We would probably say something different with those 4 letters,
Well-
but we're not going to go that way.
Oh.
So fear of missing out. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
love it. But I would get that toward domestic things like grocery shopping or going on errands or driving a normal sized car and, sitting on the couch and watching movies. And there's a lot of sterility and a lot of mundanity in terms of you're always at a hotel or you're in your van basically. And so, but I love tour. I wouldn't trade it, but it is, it's definitely, it's pretty emotionally draining too. So
Now, you guys have toured all over the world, right? So
Yes.
you've been to Europe. You've been where? Italy, Germany.
Yeah.
Where? Name some of the places and what that's like when that people in another country know you guys.
It's been really cool. We played Germany, England, Dublin or Ireland, the Netherlands, France,
Canada.
We're going to Switzerland this summer.
Shimmy.
Who in
That's
what
a lot
country?
of places.
Yeah, in what country and cities that you were in there were the largest or the craziest fans? The ones who were just couldn't believe you guys are there.
I'd say Dublin or London were really, really rowdy. Same with Amsterdam. Germany was
The
also
Dutch.
very rowdy.
Wait,
it was surprising.
Was it the
'cause
Cologne show with Nick?
Nick broke his guitar
Okay,
in Cologne.
talk about that. Why he did that?
We have a song named Cologne. I wrote it when I
Aw.
was like 19, and Nick, trashed his guitar.
But why did he do that?
Oh, the crowd was pretty quiet at the show, and so his joke was that he was going to break his guitar for that. And
Break the ice.
my
Yeah.
parents were there. All my cousins were there. It was great, and my relatives in Germany were there, and it was kind of a mellow show. Like we were just kind of hanging out all night and playing music, and then Nick out of nowhere just destroys his guitar, and so
Did the crowd go wild? Did it
loved
wake them up?
They did love it.
Okay.
Yeah, they were just
So
like
he's a rock star.
apparently they were just like sitting there like
It was
I love
quiet. You could kind of hear. It was one of those shows where they were very invested in just hearing
Germans.
it, and it was kind of you could hear a pin drop. Where the night before we were in Berlin, and it was very, people were dancing and very out
More
and about.
party.
So, yeah.
More drugs.
Hey,
Yeah.
why don't you,
For sure.
Jordan? Why don't you hold that mic up for that camera there, the one in front of you, the one that's there. You go, and let's show that.
this is the first album?
Yes, our first
Okay.
album.
First
Yeah.
album.
And that's my copy that I have. I haven't opened it. I'll leave that cellophane on there, and
Yeah.
that'll be more valuable when you've sold more albums than Michael Jackson one day.
What okay, so you guys have more tours
Well,
this
I
year.
want to know what is
Yeah.
your favorite, if you look back at that year, what's the favorite situation that happened or I don't know, just something that you still remember? I don't know, a game
Yeah.
changer or just, yeah.
One good memory is from our first tour where we got stuck on a 6-hour traffic we got stuck in 6 hours of traffic outside of LA and in the
Yikes.
desert there, and there was a huge wreck. It took the whole highway over, and they closed down the highway, and so we weren't going to make it to our show in Phoenix that night. We got up at 7 for it and everything, and we're cruising down the highway, and Nick pulls out his phone and he's like zooming in on maps and like has an app that I've never seen before. I think he's using like Onyx or something, which is like a backpacking
Yeah.
app.
GPS app.
Yeah.
Oh no.
so
I have a feeling about this.
Yeah. So we're in the huge van and we're all crowded in there, and Nick keeps zooming in and he finds a way. He's like, I found a way to get up there. And so he takes us on through all these reservations, like way out into the middle of nowhere. And then we get on this rocky road that's like 4-wheel drive basically and really hardcore, and
Did you have the trailer?
no trailer,
Okay.
luckily, but we drove for about 30 minutes on it before realizing that it's not a road and it's the Pacific Crest Trail, like the hiking trail that people are on.
Oh,
So-
I've been on the
brother.
PCT.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes up here in Washington. And
Yes.
And then
It
what?
goes from Mexico all the way to Canada.
Well, did you make it to your show?
so I had a pocket map. We had no service. I have a map of the PCT on my phone, and I was looking at it and I was like, I think it's going to intersect with this road. And so we drive a little further and we meet this farmer, or he was working on something out there, and he was like just pointing at us to keep going and telling us where to go. And we followed it for another 20, 30 minutes, and we go under a set of train tracks and we cross a creek, and then we pull up into this parking lot, which is a trailhead, and we were able to bypass all the traffic. It took 2 hours, but we were able to make our show on time.
That's
no
Sick.
way.
And we got out there
So
and
Nick
we
was
were-
right.
Yeah, we were blaring music, and we all shotgunned a Modelo because we were so excited about it and just screaming stuff. And
But not the
It's
one
fun.
who was driving. They didn't shotgun.
oh yeah,
The
well
Modelo.
I drove the whole
Okay,
time.
Dad.
Yeah, right.
I drove the whole time, and then once I pulled off into the trailhead, our tour manager was like, I'm going to take over, and I immediately just took a knee and drank some beer. It was
Sure.
great.
Oh,
So
shoot it.
yep.
Have
Well,
you
that's a
liked
good
everyone in the
story.
industry you've been meeting and everything?
Yeah, for sure. Lots of I find that artists are the sweetest people, and like I feel like I relate with them the most. They're very like
What kind of artists?
Just artists in general.
Okay.
Like
you'll,
musicians.
You'll meet a lot of
Could be music, could be painters, anything, actors.
Yeah, just creative people. I love meeting
Don't
with
put them all in one pot.
Yeah, they're
Can't
artists.
compare actors.
Of course you can. They're all artists. They all have an art.
Well, some have a screw loose too.
There you go. Yeah,
But
that's
so
true.
do a lot of musicians.
True.
Oh yeah, I love it. It's all good because I think there's a very well-meaning nature to each conversation you have with artists and with creatives. Whereas meeting people across the industry, you never really know if there's an agenda or if there's, I don't know. That's just me being an anxious person. But like I've found that it's very easy to relate to artists and talk about creative.
They're a little more blue-eyed in the sense of I'm doing my art and I don't really, want to mess anyone over. I'm here creating things.
Exactly.
So they're sweet. Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
It's way less, there's no scheming. And like, I've just found that like, that's where I connect with people, and even people that do work in the industry as professionals. Like if they're not necessarily artists, like I find that I connect with them when we can talk about what album you're listening to, or like, what music do you like? Not as much of like, what are you doing these days? Or like, what are you working on? Like that kind of thing.
Does that
It's your
surprise
intro.
you?
I don't know. I honestly, it's all still really new. I'm still figuring out how I feel about everything. But I do know that like, it's really cool to see what other artists are doing and like to stay tapped in and make real connections, because these are the people you kind of see. It's a smaller world than you'd realize. So I see a lot of the same people at the same festivals or shows. And so bumping shoulders with them, if you've made a good connection, it's really worthwhile. So
Any big fights or arguments you guys get in since you're with each other every single day, months at a time?
we live with our drummer, Jacob.
Yeah.
And me and Jacob have similar, we're both kind of type A and like love. We're both also pretty introverted. And so me and him, we bicker a lot.
And you guys
sure.
have been friends forever.
Exactly. And then, yeah, so there's plenty of that. And we've had a lot of, it's been interesting because these are my dudes. Like these are my friends that are like, I see them as just like dudes. Like we were never very deep with each other. Did not really, it was very surface level friendship until like we'd always done stuff together and always communicated. But like now it's been like, we're very much a part of each other's lives and a part of on an emotional level too. And
A little more family and deep conversations and what are your fears and
yeah,
I'm missing my mom.
totally. You have infinite time, and it's like you have to talk about, is this working for you a lot of the time, because they're my partners as well as my bandmates. And so a lot of it is like, is this healthy? Is this way we're doing things? Like, me and Jordan talk about it all the time, and I'm 1/3 of the equation in terms of our band. And so I have to listen to their conversations they have with their people, and we just have to basically look out for each other's best interests and just listen and talk so much. So
How does that feel being like the songwriter? Like
Pressure.
yeah, like how does that
The
feel?
leader of the band.
I wouldn't say leader. I mean, yeah, you guys are all a team. Like, but being the songwriter, like I've seen you make the songs and all that. Like you always have a vision. So how is that with like collaborating with them?
it's good. It's also a skill. Like we've done it a lot in the past, and we're learning the best way to do it now. I mean, we operated at long distance for the last few years, and so we've had to learn a lot about how each other work, especially as like grown men. Sometimes I look at them and I'm like, you're still this 14-year-old kid that I can, we can just shoot nonsense at each other all the time. But yeah, it's been really fun. I mean, creatively, it's learning to let go, and then also not be ashamed to provide ideas and to, just.
Do they look to you to guide, or hey, this is a song I just wrote, let's write music? Like Elton John and Bernie Taupin, perfect example. Bernie wrote all the lyrics. Elton John put the music to it. So when you come up with lyrics, do you bring it to Jacob and Dylan and Nick and say, okay, here's my lyrics, let's get together and make the music for this? Or do you make the music that goes with those lyrics as well? Or do they have input in that?
There's a mix. I mean, for the most part, recently it's been I've made the music and the lyrics, and then we've gone into the studio and Jacob's been able to write drum parts or like play drum parts a lot cleaner. Same thing with Dylan. And then Nick is also playing guitar, and he does a lot of our mixing. He's kind of the producer of the record, so he adds a lot of his own spin on things, basically, because
like little riffs.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of power in post as well, post production. So Nick does a lot of our mixing and mastering, and what that allows you to do is really tinker what you want to bring out of a mix. Because sometimes these songs will have 60 parts or 70 parts, and
what does that mean? Parts?
Like tracks,
like
basically. So like
Oh.
each of us talking on this mic is one track or two tracks, depending on how you're set up. But
We're set up with two, I think, a video and an audio track.
okay,
yeah, so when Nick is doing it, like they're literally going little section by section by section by section, and like
it's like
layering and adding, and yeah.
it's like making a pizza.
No, yeah, for sure.
And then sometimes just erasing the whole thing and starting all over again. Do you have to do that?
I give Nick full, this you make the calls there, and so that's where, learning how to divvy up, where decisions are made is something that's important for us. Like, for me as a songwriter, like I definitely consider myself like, I write the songs, and so I control a lot of the structure, and I also I feel like I have a lot of say in terms of arrangement, which is like, this section of guitars is going to come in here, or this section of guitars is going to come in here. But I also give a lot of that to Jacob, and Jacob does a great job with, determining how drums are built, how we're going to use percussion in our songs, and also like.
And where do the song ideas come from? Are you just sitting there and you think of? I've tried to write lyrics before in my life. I make it maybe a sentence or two, and then it goes nowhere. So obviously that's not part of my creative brain to figure that out, the poetry side of it. So where does it come from, and what are you trying to get to? Or is it just gathering words and making them into something? Explain that a little, because I've never heard an artist say, how do they come up with a song?
Yeah, I've been around, I've gone full circle with this. So like, there's been times where I've sat down and written a song extremely fast, just kind of stream of consciousness style. But I've had to build the skill up. I've definitely had to be pretty calculated in terms of, I used to print lyric sheets of all my favorite artists, all their songs, and I would read them like books, and I would highlight lines that I'd love, and I would try and change songs that they've written, and like try and find like motifs or like parts of their lyrics that I could connect with and potentially put my own spin on. And so
any lyrics from personal experiences and things where something made you sad and you wrote a song right away about it, about how you're feeling. Does that come up at all? Or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Absolutely.
I feel like most of your songs are pretty personal.
I would say about 50%. I would say like sometimes it's writing a story and spinning off, or like getting into a space and trying to write about a certain message that you're trying to convey. And then on the personal side, you definitely want to add some component of like, this is mine, even if it's like an inside joke with yourself or something like that for later. So I definitely write quite a bit from there. I feel like music is really cathartic and healing in terms of expression. And a lot of times that's transferred to the people that are listening to it, which is really cool. So I try to take each song as it comes, and I sometimes write them line by line, stanza by stanza over a few months or a year. And I have a huge Google Docs that I hold everything on. So,
and what made Evergreen so famous in your mind? What is it about the song that many people have downloaded that song?
There's this guitar part that's pretty iconic on it. Like I feel like we used some very high up strings on the guitar that not a lot of people use on acoustic guitar, and we like manually detuned and made a lot of interesting sounds with it. And so that part definitely stands out as what people notice as Evergreen. But I also think that the song's really short. It's like 1.5 minutes long, and it was the intro to our album. And I think because it's so short, it's really digestible, like a lot of the internet's content today. And so a lot of people can stream it really quickly. And yeah.
What I've heard what I've read on like comments about the song and stuff like that, just online, is people kind of like the general theme is people are like, this makes me want to start my life over. Like this song feels like an inspiration. Like this song feels like changing your whole life and going after your dream. Like I think Evergreen was such like an emotional pull for a lot of people. And the way it was used on TikTok was an emotional pull.
I guess that's totally true. That's way more zoomed out. I was like musically, mechanically.
Yeah, but honestly, like it was the whole trend on TikTok. Like they didn't make the trend, like someone took Evergreen and made this trend. And basically it was like all these videos of traveling and just being with people and all this stuff. And that was kind of the soundtrack to it. So
what is the song about? I've heard it, but again, English is my second language. So sometimes I hear the melody and I know how it makes me feel, but I don't really listen to lyrics. Mm-hmm. Maybe 20% of the time, I'd say.
Oh, that's cool.
To be honest. So what is it about?
It's I wrote it while hiking in Colorado. I did this trail with my buddy, but it was the first song on our first album, and it's kind of about just like taking a step out and doing something. And we released this when we graduated high school. That was kind of the reason we made this album. And so it was this song was basically about graduating and also just becoming a recording artist and putting out our first song, and it was great. So it's kind of about getting outside a little bit. People on the internet pretty much nailed it in terms of like spreading messages of like
conveying of a visual to the song.
Yeah, like getting outside and then also just like spreading like, hope and excitement and that kind of thing. So
have you guys recorded a music video yet to any of the songs?
Oh yeah, Jordan's in one of ours.
Isn't that the gorilla one?
Yes.
Yep.
What's it called?
That's before he had a management team and everything.
We could still do it. Jordan is it's called
Laramie.
Yeah.
I kill him. I'm a gorilla. It's just like we literally made it on an iPhone, right?
You guys did that in Montana, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And
That was
then
pretty
Nick
funny.
snipes him from a window. It makes no sense. Like literally the video makes no sense, but it's hilarious and we had a ton of fun.
It is funny.
Yeah, that's
It's
all of
so
our music
funny.
videos, and that one was one of my favorites.
We
to
had like
make.
this creepy basement downstairs and like half of it's filmed in there. I don't know. It was just weird. We had fun. What okay, do you have a new album coming?
Yes. Yeah, we have
Talk
one
a little bit about it.
It's out this fall. We haven't announced anything, but it's pretty much done. We're just spending the next few weeks, maybe the next couple months.
Why don't we give a teaser? What's the name of the album so people
what
can
is
get
the name of
excited
the
about
album?
it? I'd like to see searches starting.
Oh, there you
right
go.
away. Let's tease it.
Do you know the name of the album?
Yeah, I do.
I think it's going to be called Greg's the Greatest.
That's
Do
actually
you want
it.
to tell the name of the album?
It's called GTG. Greg's the Greatest.
No, you don't have to.
No, please do.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's called Colorado's on Fire again. It was.
Oh,
I like that.
Yeah, I wrote most of the album when I was like about to graduate college, and it's kind of just an album where like, I was in COVID. I've also done a lot of growing up the last few years, so it's like a lot of just reflections and just trying to think big picture about life and things like that. So
Colorado is on fire again.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I like
that's
that.
album number 2 or 3?
This will be our 4th album.
Ooh,
And it's a
I
fun
have
one.
work to do after this.
yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
You have a lot of listening to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
everyone check out.
See, I haven't
Richy
even been
Mitch.
able to listen to his album because I still have it wrapped in the cellophane. So-
Yeah, you have it on your
I'll
phone.
teach you another one.
Oh yeah, I
and
do have a phone
Spotify.
with it. Okay.
Mr. X, Gen
Well, that's
X over
exciting.
here.
Yeah.
What's different about this album?
I think it's really experimental. Like I think it's so much more of a personal expression rather than like me learning music as I go and trying to, like I said, like I was trying to write lyrics and learn about how to write. And I felt that was our first few albums, and then it's been a few years since then. And I think this album is really cool because it's very cohesive and also feels like a very personal expression. Like I feel like I've said a lot of things that I care about and that I mean to say. So it's very
How
intentional.
many songs are on it?
Probably 12.
12?
Yeah.
Nice, it's perfect.
That's great. On ours, it was 6 on the front, 6 on the back.
Oh yeah.
You'd have to flip over the record after the 6th song
I love it.
and then
Little
drop
side
the
A, side
needle
B.
again, and it would go.
What year is
And
this?
then boom. Oh, 70s, 80s. I mean, I still had a turntable in the 80s. I think we started getting CDs in the 90s
Wow.
where you put a CD in in a car, and that's how you listen to it. Compact disc.
Yeah.
Not,
Do you
not
think
as
it's a
sexy as
superior
vinyl.
way? Do you think like vinyl is a superior way to listen to music?
Yeah,
or
I think an LP 100% is just gold. I mean to listen to a
And the
record,
scratching, I do like.
It's
the
like
sound better.
making.
and you can hear every instrument so clearly on an LP, right?
What's an LP?
The album's called an LP.
Why?
something pressing. I
Yeah,
think.
it's like
guys-
liquid
you don't know what it
pressing.
stands for?
Liquid pressing.
I used to know I at one point, but maybe it says it
Hey,
here.
producer,
What is LP? Jamie?
what is LP?
Pull it up.
Young
Yeah.
Jamie.
Jamie, can you pull it up? please?
Producer, could you pull that up for us, please? Google LP. I think liquid press, but I don't know.
Probably.
Everyone can Google by themselves. But I find listening to vinyl compared to listening to a CD is kind of like brewing coffee, you know, like grinding your beans and pouring hot water. That would be vinyl. And then the CD is kind of your Keurig.
Yeah.
You plug the thing in, you close it, and there's
but
your
do
coffee.
Modifies a coffee
do you,
stand.
Yeah, but do you notice a difference of the sound coming from a
course.
record?
Oh, yeah.
than
It
you
has
do?
way more character.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me,
But the
it
whole
sounds
haptic
better.
and the whole
But also, a lot
experience
of
is
people don't have
different
record
too.
players anymore.
Yeah, they're starting to sell out record players
Yeah.
again.
There's a comeback for sure.
There
There
is.
is.
Yeah.
And
Comeback
I mean, we
I
go to
still have-
record shops all the time.
All
and
the
I
time,
have a
yeah.
ton of records still.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're
I
yeah.
still have the original Boston Third Stage album in its wrapper
That's awesome.
that I've never opened or played.
Wow.
That was from the 1970s.
That's amazing. You got to do it.
I still have it.
What did your parents listen to growing up? Like, do you have any influence from their music?
I'd say so. I mean, we listen to a lot of different stuff. My dad loves Zeppelin, Rush.
Yes.
Love your dad.
Yeah.
Is your dad my dad?
No,
There you go.
literally.
He loves some of the heavier stuff, but we grew up with they showed us a lot of different stuff, and then my dad also loved like Soundgarden, Nirvana, Chili Peppers, like a lot of.
Does your dad
Grungier.
believe Neil Peart's the best drummer that's ever lived in
I
the
think
world?
so.
I do.
I would guess.
I would guess,
him
too.
or him or Bonzo. It's probably it,
Bonzo
so-
and Neil Peart. I'll
Yeah.
take both. Yeah,
But
I would say both.
and my mom liked a lot of. They met in the middle at like kind of like collective soul. My mom liked Prince a bit. My mom liked Journey. So we had like good mix of music
Yeah.
in the household. But
Yeah.
my mom also listened to a lot. She also listens to a lot of newer music, which is fun.
Yeah.
So
Did your mom like my kind, Neil Diamond, John Denver, Elton John, Billy
Yeah.
Joel,
for sure,
Kenny Rogers,
I would
Barry Manilow?
I would give it probably. I would say like a strong probably.
Yeah.
But
She doesn't listen to old. Like, I feel like she doesn't listen to a lot of her old music, though.
no, she
my
doesn't,
mom
no.
played that all the time growing up. So that's what I listened to during the 70s growing up as a young kid.
Yeah.
Was Neil Diamond and Elton John and Barry Manilow, and those
Well,
were
then
what
that's
she
what
played
you
in
had
that.
me listen to.
And I love that music to this day.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I also love all new music as well. Like I love Eminem, I love 50 Cent, I love Curtis Jackson. Right? I mean, I like all kinds of genres of music, but I think my influence, I think most people's influence comes from what their parents were listening to while you were growing up.
Yeah.
And then you get your own, like around age 14 or 15, all the way for the rest of your life from that point of, like, if someone was to tell me Richy Mitch and the Coal Miners at my age, we'd have no idea about
Yeah.
who you are. But everyone in your age group probably knows who you are.
Yeah.
Like we knew who Rush or Rat was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Our parents didn't have a clue who that was.
there you go.
But they were world known and famous, right?
For sure.
So I think with music, we all have a genre of about a 10 to 15 year spread there where that's our music.
Yeah.
And the other generations have no idea about it.
Definitely.
It's not, and that's weird to me that we can hear your song, Evergreen, but someone else my age has never heard it and has no access to that song because of the genre they listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, it's amazing to see like the niches that form, and also the bands that get almost a cultish,
Yeah.
identical audience at their shows. Like, I try to think of like a lot of the jam bands. I feel like
Grateful Dead.
Well,
I mean, like,
yeah.
we
The
saw
Deadheads.
someone.
Yeah, Deadheads.
No, we saw someone walking in our neighborhood the other day, and I was like, I'll literally bet you $1,000 that guy's a Deadhead. Like, and he's, like in his 60s, just has the whole. I'm like, yeah, he's a Deadhead. Like,
Did you guys ask him?
no, we were
just
in the car.
microdosed in the morning.
Yeah, we knew. We didn't even need to ask. Yeah, we just freaking knew.
that and the there's like the Fish and Ween and like
Yeah,
there's just huge. Like I know My Morning Jacket's like a classic band that like everyone just like you have to see them live and then you'll just be hooked. And like I wonder how many bands exist like that where they're just kind of in this realm of music. So
Do you have any favorite piano players that are role models to you or people
do you have
look
any
at?
role models for music?
of course I love like Justin Vernon for sure. I think most artists would probably throw his name out there. He did like Bon Iver and he's a huge collaborator with a lot of artists.
You would like Bon Iver.
What about like David Foster?
No idea who that is.
Who is that?
So David Foster is the one who discovered Celine Dion. He
Oh, cool.
discovered Michael Jackson. He discovered put Michael Jackson where he is. David Foster is Michael Bublé, Josh Groban.
Okay.
David Foster made all of them
So, like,
famous.
Piano
He's a
Lounge.
piano producer.
Nice.
So he would produce and help with their songs and make famous #1 hits.
That's great.
So he's about probably 15 years older than I am, but he's the one that made those artists famous.
Yeah.
David Foster.
That's awesome.
He's huge. He's worldwide known. As one of the best producers ever in music, kind of like Quincy Jones. Do you know Quincy Jones?
Yeah, I know Quincy Jones.
So very similar.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I'll definitely. I mean, key wise, also I love Chris Martin for sure. Coldplay was like kind of when I got into music. I like basically learned their albums because their piano is accessible. Like it's pretty simple, and there's tutorials online. So that was kind of a huge one. Foster the People.
What about Elton John?
I've only heard like 3 Elton John songs.
He doesn't
in my
listen
life.
to a lot of
Okay.
Yeah, I heard. What did I hear?
It's probably from me.
I know
Singing Benny and the Jets.
Yeah,
I
know.
sing that
Great
karaoke.
piano writing. That's amazing piano writing.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Elton that always stood out to me, and it might with you because you understand this, he wrote his first symphony when he was 6
That's
years old.
wild.
All the instruments
I watched his
to
movie.
that symphony.
What,
He-
the Rocket Man or whatever?
Good movie.
It
It
was
was a good
amazing.
movie.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
I think like you have a big appreciation for smaller artists, and I want you to tell the audience what are a couple smaller artists that you love that don't get the recognition they deserve.
Ooh, little shout outs.
Yes.
That's
Let's
great.
do it
That is so hard.
because this is going to millions around the world. So please let us know.
That's so tricky. I have to give a shout out to my friends, the Brazen Youth. They're from Connecticut.
Brazen Youth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're our good friends for several years, and they're great musicians.
Attaboy. I have to put Attaboy in
Attaboy's
there.
out there. Yeah, they're also great musicians. We get to tour with them this fall, and Brazen Youth.
Attaboy, where are they out of?
They're out of everywhere. I think they're like
Yeah, somewhere
LA
in
now, maybe, or
California.
Nashville. But
yeah.
I think they're all like, they didn't make an album for like 8 or 9 years and then got back together and made more music, and it's phenomenal. So
Nice.
yeah, but
Who else?
that's so hard.
Any independent artists?
Oh, I almost only listen to
Or like
independent
Alex
artists.
G. You like Alex G?
Alex G's great. Alex G's awesome. I love Big Thief, but
Yeah.
those are some bigger artists. I mean, yeah, there's plenty. I don't know. I may have to make a little playlist or something you guys can link, because I got plenty of too many.
Yeah,
So,
and then what do you suggest? Because part of our podcast is really helping inspire others who would be interested, who are musically talented. What other suggestions do you have to get their name out? I know you touched on it earlier,
Saying yes.
but so get out in front of people, do your own shows, go to open mics, name some stuff that can help them.
yeah, I think a lot of it is embracing what you're working on. So if you're a recording artist, if you're working on a record, like just record every day for sure, and learn how to use mics, learn how to work on placement, learn how to get high fidelity out of most of your instruments and everything like that. And then additionally, if you're a songwriter, if you want to be a guitar player, you can attack that angle. There's something that exists in music for everything. People get paid just to play guitar for a band and they've never met anybody, and people get paid to, show up and you can sell shirts if you want to get into the industry. Like you can do any of that. It's really.
But if let's say I'm a young person, male, female, and I'm playing my guitar in my basement, I'm making songs. How do I get that song out? Do I just post it on YouTube and hope people start listening to it? Is that what you'd suggest? Things like that?
You can absolutely do that. You'd want to find, I would just get it on Spotify and Apple Music. You can just do that through a digital provider, so a distributor. So there's
tons of avenues.
Sometimes
to
it's
just
free.
get out.
Yeah. So a lot of times it's free and you get to own everything. And at the very least, it's something you're going to look back on and be like, I made that. And the same thing is for the person that's playing guitar in their basement. Like, and if you love music, then you've already done it. Like you're doing the thing. You have a guitar in your hands and you're like getting connect with that instrument. And so I've learned that like my most important job every day is to get my hands on an instrument and do some writing and some thinking, and after that, everything else is accessory. And it's important to get your name out there and push yourself and put pedal to the metal, but keep getting better at that guitar and keep getting better at any technical thing that you want to really improve on, and just learn and study. So
I want to talk about TikTok for a hot second, because Jordan told me, and again, I don't use TikTok, but she said TikTok is what made you famous, or at least through going viral.
For sure.
People found you and saw you and then got interested, and obviously that creates that following you guys have right now. How do you have a band account on TikTok? How many videos do you have roughly? Do you do all the, I don't know, if DJ was here, he would tell us about search words and keywords and I don't know what. And when you post something, did you guys figure out a little formula, or was it a little bit of dumb luck combined?
Luckily, so I guess TikTok is interesting because there's so many sounds and so many trends and so much noise almost. I think TikTok in essence is, a lot of noise until you find that video that you connect with or want to watch. And yeah, for us, everything that we started off user generated. So like everyone else was making videos and we did not have a TikTok, and I was on an Android, and I was very disconnected from.
I bullied him into getting an iPhone.
Yeah, I was very disconnected from online, and as we got more into music, we realized that like we need to meet people where they're finding us, and that we started making TikToks, and there was a lot of clash between identity because I've never been super online, super
be in front of the camera and
not my personality,
reading comments and all that.
Does that make you nervous? Are you shy to that?
I would say I had been, and I'm also still very picky. Like I find that there's ways that I don't want to present myself as like a content creator in the sense of like, hey, like we're doing a contest today, like who's gonna, but yeah. I do find like some more comfort, and we've been able to work with people that have helped us connect with other people, and
they have like a social media team.
Yeah, through our managers, they help us with like ideas, and we basically take a lot of videos of ourselves, and they're able to help us put stuff together. But it's all I've learned that also is like it's low pressure, because either people are going to watch the video or they're going to keep swiping and not watch it. And so I think of it as the same way as playing a show where it's like, you could spend 7 hours working on this video, but the other thing is like, if I'm playing guitar and it sounds decent, then I should just post it and get, go touch grass and go focus on what matters. And so that's been more of my attitude to learn about, because I used to be so nervous where I'd fixate on making a video that's 7 seconds long for a whole day. And,
But I mean, it did work. So I just wondered, the video to Evergreen, like, was that video number 20, or was it basically the one video on your guys' channel?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys even make a video to Evergreen, or how did it?
No, it was just other people.
Someone else made the video to Evergreen.
But where did the music come from? Spotify?
So everything, it's kind of like Spotify. So TikTok has its own platform where you can look up music and look up and you can play sounds from artists. So,
But did you submit it there, or do they find you kind of?
yeah, so people did use our music, like they had found us at that point, but you submit it there through a distributor. So the distributor is like, if it's someone that's trying to release music in their room there, the distributor will send it to Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, and TikTok, and a bunch of other platforms. So that's where people like were able to use it from. But yeah.
So there was nothing on your TikTok channel when you went viral on TikTok, basically.
It didn't exist.
No, their TikTok was
Holy
so
smokes.
yeah, they didn't even have a TikTok.
See,
Like,
okay, well, that is new news to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So every musician literally just get your music on those providers.
well, I feel like you guys weren't really.
Well, that's a great suggestion right there. That's what I'm trying to get to is what Asya just said.
Yeah.
Which is get your stuff out there.
Yeah.
Regardless if you're happy with it or not.
Yeah.
Because it will touch somebody.
Yeah, it
Is
only
that what you're
takes one
saying?
person to then take it to Instagram or TikTok
Yeah.
and make a reel that then goes viral because of just the magic.
Yeah, it's how Justin
Combination of
Bieber got
things.
found on YouTube.
Yeah.
He was singing on YouTube as a little boy, and they discovered him.
Yeah.
And the rest is history for him.
No, it's true. I mean, it is just posting the stuff, and then also like, yeah, just continuing. Like I would think of when you post stuff is like very low stakes. Like I wouldn't think of as like I'm making a TikTok or uploading a song that it's going to be the Justin Bieber moment. You should think of it as like you're clearing your hard drive for something new. And you're,
Yeah, I
I
shouldn't
think
have. I
that's a
shouldn't have
bit-
said like you're going to be famous like Justin Bieber.
No.
All I meant was, if he hadn't done that,
oh yeah,
who knows if he would have ever been Justin Bieber, the star.
Yeah, but I
Totally.
just think with this day and age, like people go into things being like, "This is gonna make me viral. I want to go viral." Blah blah blah. But like coming from Mitch's like point that he's saying is like, just share what you're creating and
Yeah, be
don't-
authentic.
Yeah, like I don't know, just share and maybe it'll click, maybe it won't. Like you guys weren't even looking for that, you know?
yeah. We all had careers, so it
Yeah, it
was
just
the
fell in
same.
your lap. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I always tell younger people, I had a conversation today at one of my job sites, and one of the guys there who was installing appliances asked me, "Hey man, how do you get rich?" Because he's looking at this house that I'm building. It's for a client. And I looked at him, I go, "What do you mean, how do you get rich?" And he says, "Yeah, how do you get rich?" I go, "Well, number one, it's a lot of hard work, okay? Number two, what are you willing to do and what are you willing to sacrifice? If all you care about is getting rich, I don't think you're ever gonna. What you have to do is find what you're really good at and then go do and something you love and go do that. And perhaps you'll get rich from it. Perhaps not. But if you're only trying to get rich, there's no happiness or joy in that. So you can't do something because you think you're going to be famous or you think you're going to make a lot of money, like these people that want to go viral because they're going to be famous now. That's not a reality. Like that doesn't happen. That's so rare. So I think a good suggestion for people is, if you love playing guitar, you love piano, you love writing music, just do that. But just post it and get it out there.
Yeah,
And it will touch someone because it's coming from your authentic self.
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and just be consistent. You know,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah, be real.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're coming to a good wrapping place.
Mitch, this is great having you on. I love hearing
Yeah.
about the music industry and all the people and the players involved and what you've had to go through and how many producers you've had to fire.
Well, I already know we will have you on again.
Yeah, I want
Just
part two
The
I want part two
growth and-
too.
for the new album.
Oh, there we go. Well, thank you
And
guys.
just like sharing details, like
Yes.
sharing details about touring and, you know, the nitty gritty. But
Yeah. What
Colorado
what changed?
the fires again.
Colorado's on fire again.
Colorado's
yeah.
on fire again.
Yeah.
Okay,
When
gotta
are you
remember
guys
that
going to
name.
release that album?
I think later this year. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, everyone,
stay
look out.
tuned.
Yes.
No, I'm very proud of you.
Thanks, Jordan.
And
Me
thank you
too.
for being here. And yeah, you're deserving of all of this. Honestly, if you know Mitch on a personal level, you know that he's very deserving of all of this. So
We would all fall in love with Mitch.
exactly.
And I'm really proud of both of you for how you guys are so mature in figuring out and talking through all of these struggles that you guys have been faced the last 2 years. And I've been around a lot
crazy.
of it, but I am proud of both of you for how you guys care about one another, how you treat each other. You're leaps and bounds beyond most relationships, and I really, really admire it. And the grass is not greener out there, guys. So when you have something that's special with someone, you work at it and you don't get rid of it.
Nice.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you
Okay.
will know. If you
And you will
don't know,
know.
it's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, guys.
No,
well,
but thank you for being here, Mitch.
You guys,
that was
thank
so
you.
fun.
thank you.
I love what you put together. It's amazing, and I'm excited to.
Come back.
Come back.
Yeah, you come back.
We want the whole band here too.
Yeah,
we
you
want
guys
to do
should-
with the
oh,
whole
God.
band. I want to hear some good stories.
I'll be
there.
brutal.
Yes, share some stories next time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, Mitch.
Yeah.
We'll
thank
see you all in a week from now.
Yep,
Signing
see you next week.
off.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Society. No topics out of bounds. 3 generations deep, we're breaking new ground.